Some people believe everything has a price, even peace of mind. And honestly, sometimes it does. The problem is when what you want comes too neatly packaged, too pretty, too easy. That's when you should be suspicious. The story you're about to hear isn't just a creepy tale, it's a clear warning. When love turns into obsession, and money comes with a strange aura, maybe you should think twice before celebrating. Some things can't be bought. And some things once accepted make you the price. Have you ever heard of someone selling their soul for love? Or messing with witchcraft to win back someone who already walked away? Yeah. There's a thin line between desire and damnation, and once you cross it, the consequences can be supernatural. Vengeful spirits. Strange phenomena. Whispers in the dark. And a presence that never goes away. All of that became part of the life of someone who dared to toy with the occult for love. And greed. It's easy to judge from the outside, isn't it? Easy to say, I'd never do that. But when your heart is breaking and your money's gone, your mind starts welcoming all kinds of crooked advice. A little herb bath, a simple offering, a visit to that woman who knows how things work. And suddenly the door opens. The problem? It doesn't close that easily. And once you walk through, you may never find the way back. This is a true story, told in detail by someone who, deep down, just wanted to be loved and live a good life. But they ended up falling into a bottomless pit, dragged by invisible chains, suffocated by a presence that refused to be ignored. It's the kind of toxic relationship that evolves from jealousy to terror, and from a spell to hell itself. And believe it or not, it all began with a simple yes. So let me ask you, how far would you go for love? And how much would you pay for a life that looks perfect? They say every small town hides secrets. But what happened to Mariana, back in 2007, in a forgotten village in the countryside of Minas Gerais, goes far beyond any urban legend. At the time, she was 24 and full of big dreams. She wanted to leave that place, succeed in life, turn everything around. But instead of finding opportunities, she stumbled upon a promise made in desperation, and the price she paid was too high. People who lived near her back then swear they still feel a chill down their spine when they walk past the old house where it all began. Mariana was charming. She worked at a small clothing store, and between sales, she laughed with customers and lit up the room with her sweet energy. But behind the smile, there was another story. Her boyfriend, Rafael, was unemployed and obsessively possessive. He tracked her every move, read her messages, made scenes out of jealousy. It was a toxic relationship that slowly drained her soul. And yet, she stayed. Because she loved him. And because she thought she could fix him. She believed that if they just had money, everything would get better. That's when she showed up. Dona Clorinda. A woman with an unsettling stare, cold hands, and words that cut through the air. People called her a healer, but whispers around town said she practiced darker things too: witchcraft, rituals, pacts. In her desperation, Mariana went to her. She spilled everything: the dying love, the financial struggle, the feeling that her life was stuck. Dona Clorinda looked her in the eye and asked, "Is this what you really want? Eternal love and wealth? Then be ready to give something in return." Mariana didn't hesitate. She said yes. From that moment on, everything changed too quickly. Rafael landed a manager job in a nearby town. They started making good money, traveling, wearing designer clothes. It looked like life had finally clicked into place. But with the blessings came the signs. The living room mirror cracked on its own 3 times in 1 week. Footsteps echoed through the house at night, though no one was there. Rafael said he kept seeing a woman in the hallway, always dressed in white, with wet hair and a furious expression. Mariana began waking up with scratch marks on her arms. Still, she convinced herself it was all just coincidence. But nothing could explain what happened on her birthday. Friends gathered to celebrate. In the middle of the party, the lights flickered and suddenly went out. When they came back on, the cake was smashed on the floor, as if thrown violently. One guest swears they heard a raspy voice whisper, "He's mine." After that, no one wanted to set foot in that house again. Mariana, though scared, refused to undo the pact. "We're better off now," she kept saying. But that was just the beginning of the fall. Mariana's love for Rafael had turned into something else. It wasn't affection anymore. Not even partnership. It was dependence. Obsession. And Rafael? He was slipping away, like he was being consumed by something unseen. The money was flowing. The trips continued. But the atmosphere in the house grew heavier, darker. Rafael began forgetting conversations, places they'd been, even entire nights. It was like he became someone else from time to time. And Mariana? She was sinking deeper by the day. Their toxic relationship morphed into something bordering the bizarre. Rafael suffered constant nightmares. He'd wake up screaming, eyes wide with terror, saying she's beside the bed. When Mariana asked who she was, he just shook his head and refused to talk. Sometimes he'd become violent without warning. Other times, he'd sit still for hours, completely unresponsive. Once, Mariana found him sitting on the bed, eyes locked on nothing, whispering words she didn't recognize. They sounded like another language. This wasn't jealousy anymore. It was something far darker. Then Mariana herself started to change. She withdrew from everyone. Quit her job. Avoided friends. The only place she went was Dona Clorinda's house. She'd return with bags of dried herbs, black candles, papers with strange symbols. She called them cleansings, but the house always smelled like sulfur afterward. And Rafael? He got worse. One night, he smashed every mirror in the house, yelling, "She watches me through them." No one knew who was who anymore. Their identities were fading into the chaos. Their bond, once toxic, spiraled into complete madness. Mariana believed she could fix everything with spells and rituals. But the harder she tried to protect their love, the darker Rafael became. The entity, yes, people started talking about it like it was real, had wedged itself between them. The few friends who dared visit said they felt chills just walking through the door. The very walls seemed to reject any attempt at help. Deep down, Mariana knew something was wrong. But it was too late to get out. And the money? It kept coming. Mysteriously. Rafael couldn't explain where half of it came from. Sometimes random deposits showed up. Expensive items appeared in the house, and neither remembered buying them. "It's the reward," Mariana would say, as if that explained everything. But the real price, the one with no label, was already being paid. Their love became a prison. And the entity, which once simply watched, now fed on them, on their fear, their anger, their pain. And, most of all, on the obsession. Because that's what opened the door in the first place. The manifestations escalated. It wasn't just eerie feelings or footsteps anymore. Now it was physical. Doors slammed with force, even with no wind. Objects moved on their own. The TV turned on by itself every night at 3 a.m., always on the same static-filled channel. Mariana began hearing the entity's voice. At first, it was a soft whisper, almost maternal. But over time, it turned into threats, mocking laughter, words that made her skin crawl. She tried to ignore it. But the terror had already made a home inside her and in every shadow of that house. One day, an old friend showed up unannounced, worried. The moment she stepped into the house, she felt sick to her stomach. She said she saw a woman standing in the corner head down, watching Mariana. When she brought it up, Mariana quickly changed the subject. But what no one knew was that the entity, the woman from the pact, now appeared often. Always in the same hallway corner. Always silent. Always waiting. Mariana couldn't sleep anymore. She started taking sedatives, but still whispered, even with my eyes closed, "She's there." The presence wouldn't leave. No prayer worked. No healer could remove it. And Raphael. He became a shadow of himself. He wandered the house talking to no one, laughing randomly, crying for no reason. Mariana once found him kneeling, blood dripping from his nose, with cryptic words scrawled on the walls, "She wants me." He said it felt like he was being dragged into a dark hole. He tried to run from Mariana, from the house, from reality, but something always pulled him back. One time, his car just wouldn't start. The mechanic said everything looked fine. But the melted engine told another story. Something there didn't want him to leave. The paranormal activity grew so strong, the neighbors started to notice. A woman from the next street claimed she heard screaming every night. Another swore she saw Mariana walking barefoot through the yard at 2 a.m., dressed in white, eyes rolled back. Animals stopped coming near the house. Dogs barked endlessly. Cats disappeared. An old man said it was the spirit of a cursed pact. And maybe it was. Because what was happening wasn't human anymore. It was spiritual. And dangerously real. One stormy night, Mariana snapped. She ran through the streets, screaming that the woman wanted to take her. She banged on the door of the local church, begging for help. The priest, shaken, let her in. But later he said he felt a dark weight take over the chapel the moment she stepped in. He lit candles and left the Bible open all night. Mariana, in a trance, kept whispering, "I agreed. I agreed." The entity was no longer just part of the house. It was part of her. And it was demanding more and more. Their story didn't end in tragedy. Nor in peace. It ended in emptiness. An unsettling silence. Raphael vanished without a trace. Some say he was committed, others believe he took his own life. Mariana lives alone now, in a remote cabin outside town. People who get close say there are always candles burning in her windows. And that she talks to herself for hours. But the scariest part? She smiles when no one's looking, like she's talking to someone. Someone no one else can see. This story teaches us that there are lines we should never cross. Obsessive love, the kind that suffocates and blinds, is more dangerous than any spell. And when mixed with reckless ambition and the desire to take what isn't yours, the fall is inevitable. The cursed money that entered their lives brought comfort on the surface and destruction underneath. The curse wasn't just in the rituals. It was in the intention, the desperation, the blindness, and in the entity that fed on all of it. Playing with the occult is never just an experience. It's opening doors to things you don't understand. Whether it's a simple herb bath or a desperate offering, everything has consequences. Everything has a price. Mariana didn't believe that. She thought she could control it. She thought she was using an alternative method to save her relationship. But the relationship had already died long ago. All that remained were two people, chained together, bound to a growing presence that would never let go. The entity became part of their story. Part of them. And in some way, part of anyone who dares to repeat the same mistake. So race the warning: don't mess with the occult. The universe has laws even if we don't know all of them. And every dark intention comes back around, one way or another. Sometimes in nightmares. Sometimes in shadows in your room. Sometimes in a voice only you can hear. So ask yourself, how far would you go for what you think you want? And what if the price is your soul, or worse, your sanity? You might think this is just another spooky tale. But what if it's more than that? What if it's a warning? From a woman who loved too much. From a man who wanted too much. And from an entity that, well, might still be out there, waiting for the next desperate heart to knock on her door. Maybe you think stories like this could never touch your life. That pacts, spells, and spirits belong in horror movies. But the truth is, the spiritual world exists. And when it's mixed with intense emotions like obsession and greed, it answers. And it collects. I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to make you think. How often do you let desperation guide your choices? How many times have you ignored the signs, telling yourself the end justifies the means? Take a moment to reflect: is it really worth trading your peace for someone who traps you, hurts you, or doesn't truly love you? Is fast money worth the weight of something invisible? Maybe you haven't made a pact with a spirit, but how many times have you sold your values for scraps of affection or status? This story is a dark mirror, and it might be closer to your reality than you think. Now is the time to act. To choose wisely what you feed: healthy love or toxic obsession. A path of purpose or a desperate chase for riches. The urge to control someone or the courage to grow together. Every choice has consequences, but when the choice involves the occult, the consequences don't end in this world. Guard your energy. Protect your mind. And above all, never bargain with what you barely understand. If this story made you think, if it touched something deep inside you or reminded you of someone heading down a dangerous path, share it. Spreading this message could be the first step in saving someone from repeating the same tragedy. And if you're into stories like this, filled with mystery, insight, and warning, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. New stories come every week. And who knows? The next one might be yours.